riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that we has passed. Here's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire Martina Navratilova, to my Anna Kournikova, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, all things considered.
Wow, it is rare. Wait, what do you mean all things considered?
I've spent my week on an island, Garrett. I somehow got myself into yet another most dangerous game scenario.
Okay, listen, I don't know the full story here. You did return pretty scraped up after a week of absence that I frankly found to be a much-needed respite. Who or what was hunting you? And do you know what island you were on? If you say the island of Manhattan, no, there's a 40% chance I'm gonna strike you.
No, it was not Manhattan, Garrett. It was a bunch of random billionaires. It was a mysterious island. You know, honestly, given the possibilities, being hunted on a billionaire island is probably the least upsetting start to going to a billionaire's island. The point is... Garrett, have you ever shaken hands with somebody worth over $1 billion?
Shaking hands, no. I've high-fived.
Right. Okay. Well, you really got to shake hands because these are soft men, but they're also very confident men. These are men who do not know how to hunt a human, but really believe themselves capable of it. And let me tell you, Garrett, no.
Okay. Beginning things with the illusion of murder. Fantastic.
No.
Welcome to the Why I Hate This Album podcast.
Kill.
Oh, well, that's nice and legal.
Yeah, tigers really did most of the work.
Yeah, that's the beauty of using them as a weapon. They do most of the heavy lifting and have a good time doing so. Okay, Tim, well, dangerous game aside, although Hard Target really is my preferred human hunting reference, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, of course it is. But you're wrong. Classic literature.
Disagree. What was the one with Ice-T? Somebody hunted Ice-T in one of these, too. Did you ever see that
people hunt Ice-T all the time.
Oh, in conversation.
He was there this week. He's been there 2 out of the 4 times I've gotten myself into a most dangerous game situation.
Can you believe they're hunting me again? Damn.
Right.
Hey, Ice-T. Dude, do you go home? I don't even bother anymore. Wow. He's so wealthy, you'd think he'd get better security. I like it. This is how I exercise. Oh, weird. Anyway, human hunting aside, Tim, let's get back to the matters at hand. What song have we been listening to for an entire week straight in order to determine whether or not we hate it?
Well, Garrett, for the last week, we have been listening to the 1979 power pop song Dream Police by the band Cheap Trick.
And this is a bit of a swerve for us, folks. Tim, I'm very curious. After an entire week of evading billionaires and listening to Cheap Trick, do you hate this song?
Oh, no, not at all.
Wow, that's refreshing.
Yeah.
Bit of a palate cleanser.
Yeah. What about you, friend? Do you hate this band?
Of course not. This song's great.
Well, I don't know if it's great.
This song's great. Great. Tim?
It's not great. It's not great. I'm not doing the great thing with you. I know what you're trying to do.
See, yeah, we'll try it later. Okay, well, Tim doesn't think it's great. I think it's pretty great. Good place to start. We'll see if one of us ends up at hate. No guarantees. Prior to this week, Tim, I'm curious, what is your history with Cheap Trick and or the Dream Police?
More with Cheap Trick than with Dream Police. I've heard this song probably 60 times in my life. Never once intentionally listened to it. Never really once thought about it in any meaningful way. To the point that you suggested it, and I had to really think to make sure I knew which song we were talking about. To me, it's kind of forgettable.
What's your go-to Cheap Trick then?
Well, Garrett, that 70s show intro. It's the best Cheap Trick.
Is that Cheap Trick?
Yeah, it's a cover of Big Star.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. Was the cover made for the show?
I don't know.
Yeah, weird. Okay.
Well, Garrett, speaking of forgettable TV shows and songs, is this the first time you've ever gone out on the mean streets of the Big Apple and just gotten yourself a Cheap Trick? No?
Excellent.
Moving on.
No. I think what you mean to say is, do I know this band? And of course I do. I've heard this song, I don't know, 1,000,000 times. How have you only heard it 60?
I don't know. I counted them up, and it came to about 60.
What is their big hit?
Surrender?
Of course, I know Surrender slightly better, but I gotta say, Dream Police probably just as well. I have never really I think you and I are probably on the same page here. I've never once been like, oh, you know what I want to put on? Cheap Trick. But, when it comes on, I don't mind it. I think they're talented people. I was very interested to see if focusing on the content of the song this week changed my opinion of them, and it did a little bit. We'll get into it, of course. But I think before we do, we need to understand a little bit about the band. So you and I have about the same history, that is to say, almost none, probably very similar to our listeners. Before we talk about the song, though, I want to learn a little bit about how it came to be. So Tim, take us on a journey, help us understand who is Cheap Trick and where are these Dream Police from?
Well, Garn, this band was formed by Rick Nielsen on guitar, Tom Peter's son on bass, Bun E. Carlos, aka Brad Carlson on drums, and Randy Hogan, aka Xenu, on vocals, although Xenu would get replaced pretty quickly by Robin Zander and his never-ending cavalcade of dumb hats. Don't cry for Xenu, though, Garrett. He is a member to this day of the Wisconsin area music industry's 1994 Hall of Fame inductee, Bad Boy. Also, I believe he is the head of some sort of California-based religion.
I didn't follow most of that. Continue.
Possibly the antagonist thereof. I don't know. These guys mostly came from musical families and or played music quite a bit as kids. Bun E. Carlos's family claims that they had members that played drums for the Union Army in the Civil War. His mom played a bunch of instruments. His dad played accordion around the house incessantly, sometimes for up to 17 hours straight. His fingers actually would begin to bleed from playing the accordion so much.
Did he have mental problems?
I don't think so. I think he just loved that instrument.
I do. You cannot possibly play an accordion up to 17 hours straight and have somebody think you're remotely sane.
I disagree, nuts. Garrett. Up to 17 hours a day includes 0 hours a day. Okay. Rick's parents were both opera singers. His dad directed symphonies and choirs and had 40 solo albums, not a one of which needs to be mentioned here. His family also owned a music store when he was a kid in Rockford, Illinois, and he played a bunch of instruments. He had a band in high school called the Phaetons, which became the Grim Reapers. Tom Peterson joined the Grim Reapers, which became Fuse, which made one terrible and unpurchased studio album and then broke up in 1970.
What was the original name? It wasn't the Phaetons. That's not what you said, right?
Phaeton. Phaeton. Phaeton.
Okay. I was worried we had Phaetons and Xenu, and this was all some weird undercover Scientology project. But no. Sorry, I was reading into it. Apologies. Misheard.
Yeah. Rick then joined Nez, then Sick Man of Europe in Philadelphia, and then finally created Cheap Trick in 1973. Now, that name was allegedly inspired by the band going to see Slade live, and Peter's son said that they used every Cheap Trick in the book. Now, I have it on good authority that these guys also really liked to make love to inexpensive prostitutes at the time as well, so that may have played a part too.
Allegedly.
Now, these Broke Johns recorded a demo in 1975 while playing in warehouses and bowling alleys across the Midwest. Because in 1975, that was a respectable career move, they were immediately signed to Epic Records in 1976 and released their eponymous debut album in 1977. Critics loved it. Most of them didn't buy it. It had a single that did not chart. And around this time, Rick stole the look and persona and mannerisms of Huntz Hall of the Bowery Boys, an American film actor that Garrett, for some reason, is in love with. He has a poster on the back of his bathroom door. He was mostly in movies in the 1930s to 1990s, mostly in the 1930s, and most notably in 48 of the Bowery Boys films.
Getting really tired of you actively slandering me on this show.
No, you're not. Cheap Trick released...
Oh, I'm going to kill you.
Richer men than you have tried, Garrett.
That's just it, Tim. Their hands are soft.
Oh, that's true. Your hands are horrible 8 mitts.
It hurts because it's true.
Yeah. Anyway, Cheap Trick released a second album, In Color, that same year. Its 2 singles also did not chart. However, a little silver lining to that cloud, people in Japan loved them with the fervor that Rivers Cuomo loves people from Japan. And by that, of course, I mean in the least healthy way possible. So when they toured Japan in 1978, it was essentially Asian Beatles mania Tanzania and included the Budokan shows in Tokyo, which they released as like a Japanese exclusive. They released Heaven Tonight in 1978, and that featured Surrender. But by that point, demand for Cheap Trick at Budokan was so great that Epic just decided to release it in the US as well. It immediately went triple platinum, and they became international stars. These guys.
Bob Dole's favorite album.
Absolutely. He's got weird musical taste, though. Huge Fish fan as well. Can't trust him.
Bob Dole likes fish. Get this man a halibut. Sorry.
Cheap Trick released Dream Police in 1979. That, of course, features the song of the week, but it also features The House is Rockin' with Domestic Problems.
That can't be the name of it, is it?
It is, yeah.
It was with domestic problems, at least in parentheses?
It is, yes.
That's worse.
Yeah, it's the dirty little secret.
It's not, it's right there.
By 1980, they were... Well, no, it's in parentheses, Garrett.
The parentheses are silent?
Absolutely.
I don't think that's how that works.
In 1980, they were headlining arenas. They released All Shook Up in 1980, produced by George Martin. Then Tom Peters' son left the band in 1980 as well to release a solo album under the band name Another Language with his wife, who is named Dagmar. Now, I have to be real clear here, Garrett. That is not a horrible nickname I made up. She's a weird Swede, I believe. She is Dagmar Peters' son, and she made new wave music with Tom, and it was terrible.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
Dagmar. I'll bet you she's stunning, despite that name that sounds like an evil troll witch.
Oh, absolutely. In 1981, CBS sued Cheap Trick and their management for attempting to coerce CBS into renegotiating their contract and holding out on recording new material. That was settled to no one's satisfaction, and they released One on One in 1982, which featured the sexy song She's Tight, which has become known as a not really innuendo ballad. See Red Hot Chili Peppers' Stretch You Out, or instead, perhaps our excellent classic Prepisode on said song.
God, She's Tight.
Yeah.
Guess what that one's about? I'd rather not.
They also began designing instruments, or at least conceiving of instruments, and having others do the actual designing at some point in here. For example, Tom Peters' son designed a 12-string bass. Not to be outdone, Rick Nielsen designed a 36-string 5-neck guitar, or his quote-unquote quint-neck guitar.
Why?
I don't know.
Also, the invention just seems to be taking instruments that exist today and adding strings.
That's right. Or necks. Strings and necks.
Well, these necks are just really an apparatus for more strings.
That's true. They released Next Position Please in 1983 and the title track to 1984's Up the Creek, which Washington Post describes as a moist smut movie in which the best performance was given by the dog. A moist smut movie, Garrett.
I mean, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I want this in my eyes right now.
Yeah. Speaking of things you want, in 1985, Bun E. Carlos's brother Kurt, who is a major in the U.S. Army Reserve, got on TWA Flight 847. And that was promptly hijacked by Hezbollah. Now, after being brutally beaten, just shy of death, Kurt was held captive for 17 days on the aircraft in Beirut. Now, Garrett, can you imagine being on an airplane for 17 days? Like,
no.
I would, first of all, within 3 days, I would 100% join arms in jihad with my Hezbollah brothers. But more importantly, after about 16 hours, I would, welcome the beatings. It's so... it's the worst.
The longest I've ever been on a plane was 17 hours.
Is this when you went to Israel for work?
Yes.
Okay. Right by Lebanon, and related to, based on your job. If I understand your job, which I don't.
Don't have that job anymore. I have a new job.
Right.
Less related to Israel or Ukraine, which that job definitely was related to both.
Yeah. And violence. It was a violence job.
This says you. It was not a violence job. That's what I say.
Anyway. Okay.
Nope, stop it. I forget my point. Okay, anyway, no. Longest I've ever been on a plane was 17-ish hours. Although Norway, we got delayed. So point being, 20 hours. After 20 hours, God help anybody on an airplane with me.
Yeah, you're joining Hezbollah.
No, see, that's the weird part, is I'm going John McClane plane. I'm gonna crawl through the lavatory into the belly of the plane and exact my revenge on all those people.
Listen, I'm just going to say this. I've been on a plane with you for 10 hours and I caught you trying to get into that lavatory.
I was gonna take them down from the inside.
Garrett, both your feet were just trapped in the toilet and they were just covered in blue. There was suction.
I didn't do it
thing
right.
was clapping into your feet. It was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't do it right. I know I did it wrong. I learned that a lot that day, though.
Yes.
But anyway, point being is, so hold on. So back up a little bit. You lost me a little with the very distracting terrorist agenda. Who was the person that ended up being trapped there?
The drummer's brother.
I see. Okay. It was not anyone in the band. I see. Fair enough. Yeah. Good luck hijacking an airplane with me on it for that long.
Yeah. And good luck hijacking an airplane with me on it for that long and expecting me not to join your ranks.
Yeah. And honestly, the moment he does, you guys are going to go south.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same end result. Loss.
Yeah, absolutely. The Navy realized that immediately.
Boy, top-notch group. Took them less than 7 days. They gave you, I don't even think it was dishonorable. I think they gave you a mulligan. They just tore it up.
We all just lost the papers like my name is
Now we're going to have to bleep that because that happened.
Right. And I'm hoping that the army hears this and reinstates him.
That's not funny. I mean, it's very funny, but we got to bleep his name because they literally did, quote unquote, lose the paperwork and give him an honorable discharge.
Cheap Trick released Standing on the Edge in 1985, The Doctor in 1986, and then also in 1986, they released the song Mighty Wings for the Navy propaganda and also homosexual lifestyle propaganda film Top Gun.
It does seem to be pushing both of those lifestyles.
Yeah, Tom Peters' son rejoined Cheap Trick in 1987, just in time for 1988's Lap of Luxury, which Epic insisted the band make by collaborating exclusively with professional songwriters. Nielsen said, Lap of Luxury was a tough record to make. We could lie to you and tell you it was all wonderful and great. It wasn't. It was tough working with other writers, but it was a lesson for us. That record hit number 12. It got them back into the platinum-selling record business, and also included their first ever number one single, flaccid rock ballad, The Flame. They should have been working with professional songwriters the whole time.
All right, Tim, let's play a game. I'd like to play a game. No,
In. Let's do this.
Interesting. No, there'll be no Saw-esque games, but I am curious. So you and I, we do the show, pretty unsuccessful. We all agree on that. If somebody wanted to come in, retool the show, but they guaranteed you it's going to be successful, wildly successful. You can live the exact lifestyle of your choosing, but you're going to have to take production notes. You might have some writers.
Sorry, the lifestyle of my choosing? Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase. A lifestyle no less than what you are currently accustomed to.
What do you mean? In this filthy apartment with the 2 couch beds?
That's
pining over a roommate? Wait, no, scrap that. Scrap that last
yes,
bit.
your current situation.
Okay.
Would you do it?
No, not for my current situation.
You're making this very difficult. Most of your current situation is your own choice.
Right. And if somebody's gonna take over the show that I write exclusively, both parts of, no, that's not what I want
That's
credit
not true.
for.
That's definitely not true. Fuck you. Fuck you sideways. I'll kill you. I'll stab you in the throat and watch the life pour out of you in glee. Horrible man.
I'm the funny one. The point is, no, of course not. If somebody gave me any more than I have, sure.
All right, let me rephrase the hypothetical ever so slightly. For $250,000 a year.
Yes, in. What do you want? Hezbollah? Yeah, I'll join.
Stop trying to join Hezbollah.
I agree.
Oh my God. So many bleeps.
Or none. Cheap Trick released Busted in 1990. Epic let them write their own song, well, some of their own songs. They had to work with actual songwriters for others, including our girl Diane Warren for Whatever Would I Be. That album didn't do great and they had to move over to Warner Brothers. In 1994, they released Woke Up With a Monster, which I think Warner Brothers should have taken as a bad sign. That didn't sell well at all. In 97, they signed with Red Ants Records and released another self-titled album, and then Red Ant's parent company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
I wonder why.
Yes.
Who in their right mind is signing Cheap Trick in 1997?
Maybe they're hoping...
if you say Red Ants, I'll slap you.
No, okay. Well, you got to think about this, Garrett. They're 19 years post-Budokan. That means they're right around the corner for 20th anniversary of Budokan. I would sign them in 97.
I don't know if you're allowed to release that. I don't think it works that way, because it's a reissue.
In 98, they toured for the 20th anniversary of Budokan and did quite well. They remastered their first 3 albums. They did a live album with a cover of Big Stars in the Street that was used as the theme for that 70s show and remains to this day their best song.
So they did exactly what you implied. They basically re-released all the old shit. They remastered it so that
I've
basically
done the
what Taylor
history,
Swift
yes.
did.
Mm-hmm.
They Taylor Swifted it.
Yes.
They re-recorded it all. Hey, new same album. Let's make a much more $1 million. Smart.
They released Special One in 2003, Rockford in 2006. The Illinois Senate then passed a very mean joke as Senate Resolution 255 designating every single April Fool's Day as Cheap Trick Day in Illinois. Bunn stopped touring and recording and finally left the band in 2010. He was replaced on drums with Rick's son Dax. That is, of course, Dax with 2 X's. In 2011, a thunderstorm / maybe tornado dropped an 80,000-pound roof at one of them, but it mostly smashed a truck that had a bunch of their gear in it, so they were able to slip out without getting squished. And then Bunn sued them for actually kicking him out in secret. They countersued. That was settled or whatever. Who gives a shit? They released Bang Zoom Crazy Hello in 2016 and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Fame by
Metallica.
No, Garrett, Kid Rock. They released We're All Right in 2017. They appeared on the Insane Clown Posse single Black Blizzard and then released Christmas Christmas. Now, Garrett, they released their 20th studio album In Another World in 2021. Tom Peterson then had open heart surgery, so one of the other guys filled in, but they're still a band. They're still doing this. Le Face.
That is utterly shocking, Shia LaBeouf. To you, great history, Tim. I seriously thought this would wrap up no later than 95.
I was guessing like 81. No, I knew about that 70s show.
I did not know that.
But that could have been an early cover. Big Star hasn't made music since the 70s because of the tragedy.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, they somehow have continued to have a career for at least 30, arguably 40 years beyond any point I gave a shit.
Yes.
My entire life. Wow. That just goes to show you got to have like 2 hit songs.
Yeah. 2 classic episodes.
I mean, we have like 12 classic episodes.
Oh, come on now, Garrett. We have like 200. They become classics after 16 weeks.
It's not a quality designation. It's an age designation.
Yeah.
I was using classic to mean like classic, like vintage, like quintessential, must hear.
Oh, well then we don't have 12. No.
More?
Let's hear some of this masterpiece.
Play the song, Gino.
And now, Garrett, let's hear some of that apologetics parody version, Speech Police.
Speech police, they criticize what I said. The speech police.
Garrett, I found something new about apologetics this week. Every song that they make, every single, they write a little blurb about what the song is and their apparently political philosophy. Would you like to hear the Speech Police blurb?
Yes, but before you read it, of course I do. Oh my God, I do. I'm shaking with excitement. But before you do, I just want to say, if there was something that was worse than the apologetics cover, the Christian-themed cover of pop songs, it's got to be the apologetics explaining the meaning of their song.
I agree. Speak the truth, but don't be cruel. Remember when that was enough? Nowadays, people get all shook up about the slightest slight, and political correctness is the way of the world. Many surrender their freedom of speech rather than have their voices silenced. The media fans the flames, always on the lookout for a new controversy. Ain't that a shame?
I mean, on the surface, it doesn't seem to espouse any one side or the other. It's just saying look out for media bias.
I'm scandalized for my Christian beliefs. The Speech Police, they redefine what I meant. No, it's just a bunch of anti-PC, like, they don't like my slurs, Garrett.
Who doesn't?
The Speech Police don't like apologetics as slurs in there.
Oh, that's not a good song. All right, well, I hate to jump the gun, especially because of the apologetics, but I have to point out that their parody is more or less the same meaning as the original intent of the song.
Maybe. We'll get there.
Fair enough. All right, Tim. We've heard a taste. You and I have been all the way through it a couple of times this week, to say the least. Before we talk about the music at all, we got to talk about the cover of this. The all-white police uniforms, somehow all of them ill-fitting, some sort of lady mannequin on the bed, a photo that has been taken to make it look like a fake dream.
I don't think we should discuss this at all. speaks for itself, and I am into it.
Okay. Then let's talk about the music before we talk about the lyrics. Insanely upbeat delivery and style for a song that I can't say is interpreted as anything but slightly disturbing.
Yeah, and musically, it's kind of what you'd expect, right? It's power pop, pop rock, AOR-y. They're all good musicians. They're all playing competently. They're all super into this. They're doing that thing from the late 70s, early 80s where they're all singing into the same microphone and they're almost kissing, and then they go back to back and they rub blades, you know?
Rub blades.
That's what it's called.
We gotta get you a job. You were like not around normal people enough. Rub blades.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean, but like you shouldn't think that's okay to say on the show. That's like tens of thousands of people listen to this weekly.
It sounds like a high number, but my point is, Garrett, those blades are touching other people's blades.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just taking a moment to observe that you're
also, Garrett,
you're not okay. You're not healthy.
They clearly didn't discuss what they were going to dress like beforehand. It kind of reminds me of the cover.
Are you getting into the video now?
Well, okay, fair enough. Well, yeah.
Yeah, easy. We haven't even talked about the song. I'm just talking about the cover of the album. They chose to dress in all white fake police uniforms.
That's fair.
I found a bunch of promotional shit for them. It's probably in the CD booklet, but there's other photos of them in these outfits, and in one of them, they're all showing fake police badges that all say Dream Police. What?
I mean, listen, if you're going to do the song, you may as well get fake badges made up.
What? So I wrote this song called Dream Police. It's pretty catchy. And then I got some badges and uniforms made. What?
Yeah.
Why? Because we're now the Dream Police. It's like Paul McCartney with Sgt. Pepper's. We're like a real fake band, but we're called beautiful. Nobody wants to do that. Fuck no. Anyway.
George, I want it to sound like the end of the world.
I thought it could sound, like a carnival. At the end of the world. We'll mash them both together. Now shut up, you twats. Oh, that's pretty good. Thanks, Mr. Martin. Ugh, deep cuts. Back to the song in hand. Musically, you said it. Not quite power, maybe power pop. It's high energy. It's certainly pop rock, that's for sure. Very reminiscent of the era. Could you call it rock? I don't know. It's, 78, 79, something like that?
Yeah, you can hear the sort of Big Star, Thin Lizzy kind of influence on it.
Yeah, I feel like it butts up against glam rock without being as cool.
Sure.
But I might be overthinking it.
Yeah, I mean, I think glam rock, just AOR, right? You know how they have current day, the rock cruises, for example.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear bands, your Journeys, your Styx, etc. And the way that sounds on a cruise is how these guys sounded originally.
Is it the water that makes it different?
I think it's the island vibes. Everyone's just having too good a time, Garrett.
I see. Okay, very interesting. I'm inclined to agree. I want to say that. I'm inclined to say you're right. Okay, let's talk about these words.
Sure.
I'll kick things off. The Dream Police, they live inside of my head. The Dream Police, they come to me in my bed. The Dream Police, they're coming to arrest me. Oh no.
Right. Let's stop there. This is clearly supposed to be some sort of like thought crime idea, right? Mm-hmm. It's somebody there while he's asleep, Tom Cruise and his weird band of nonsense and the gross pickle people are all gonna break.
The precogs.
Yeah, they're gonna break into his house. But to me, I just hear Dream Police and all I could think was like a Pixar movie where some sort of like, I don't know, JSOC team of dream characters are hunting Freddy Krueger down across the combined landscape of a bunch of people's dreams. Essentially,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like a militaristic version of Inception combined with Nightmare on Elm Street, where they're
with a dash of Monsters, Inc.
Absolutely, yeah, they're all just trying to get that guy once and for all.
God, I love this.
Much better song, much better than all of those movies.
We might want to aggressively bleep that. What you just came up with is literally a Pixar film.
Yeah.
Hunting down nightmares across the consciousness of little children is the brigade. Tim, we might have to cut all this out. You wrote a Pixar Pixar movie. This is good.
And here's
Some
the
of
thing,
your best work.
what I want to do, this is very important. What we do, Garrett, is we do the Michael Bay thing. I think he did a movie where he hired like people to play themselves in the military or something. Might not have been him, might have been a different director. The point is, instead of actual
was
voice
Eastwood.
actors, they're all real military guys with no experience voice acting and no relatability to children.
Oh, see, I was going to go the other way with it and take
And
your...
not do that terrible idea.
Yeah, not scare children. I'm not trying to make a gritty adult. Okay, so I see what you're doing. So Pixar, their angle has always been their kids' movies that even an adult could enjoy. You're going to make an adult film that might relate to children.
Sort of, yes.
It's mostly just going to scare the shit out of them.
Yeah, well, it's going to be computer animated, but it is going to be NC-17. It is going to be violent.
For violence. Yeah.
And sex.
Oh.
I mean,
You know you can't have children there then.
okay. Well, then for violence and swearing, whatever.
There it is, violence and swearing.
You know that talk is cheap and those rumors ain't nice. And when I fall asleep, I don't think I'll survive the night.
Okay, pause here. I pictured some sort of dark city-like scenario where people are creeping into your room at night and watching for REM. And the moment they see it, they either wake you up or kill you. I don't know which yet, or arrest you, I guess. Like it's a no dreaming world. It's literally, you can sleep, but you can't dream.
Yeah, there was somebody came up with a study. It was for studying insomnia, the effects of insomnia on, I think, like mice or rats. And to
I assume
keep
it's
them,
death.
Well, the way they had to come up with to make sure that they didn't fall asleep, so they didn't have to have like a grad student there like poking them every time they seemed to be drifting off, is they floated them on rafts that were small enough that if the mouse was conscious and like actively not trying to fall off, he would be fine.
Jesus.
But the moment he fell asleep, he would just fall in the water and immediately wake up.
That is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, science is hilarious.
God damn. What did they learn?
I don't remember. I just was shocked by their technique.
By their really clearly animal torturing technique.
Yeah.
Oh man, science. The talk is cheap and those rumors ain't nice. And when I fall asleep, I don't think I'll survive the night.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just read that. But
yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did. I'm sorry. But I want to, they're coming to arrest him. And what are the rumors, Tim?
Well, people have been talking about what he's dreaming about, Garrett.
Should he be arrested? Perhaps we came to his defense too soon. Should you arrest people for having creepy dreams?
No. Wait, let me be more confident. No.
Okay, just saying. Because they're waiting for me. They're looking for me every single night. They're driving me insane, those men inside my brain. And then the chorus again.
So
what? So they're in his brain. It's more your scenario.
Right. I kind of got the impression that they're singing about something that is 100% real to them, or like at least real to presumably Nielsen, whoever wrote this. And it's one of those things where you assume that it's a universal experience. So you start talking to other people or start singing to people. It's just, how you fall asleep and those goddamn dream police guys are always harassing you and threatening you and pushing you around. That happened to me again last night. I'm sorry. Is this what? Is this not a metaphor?
So do you think it's a chronic nightmare, or do you think that maybe he lives in a world in which dreams are policed and then you can get sentenced in your dream world? So completely free in the real world.
I like that. So instead of having wild dreams of flying and sex every night, you go to sleep and you go to jail.
Right. You have dream prison. And then, so every night's just an episode of Oz.
That's not what you want.
Now, Tim, would it be the same if you could guarantee that when the person went to sleep, their dreams were then literally them just being in prison? Would that be enough? Could that be a sentence? Like a way that people could still remain in society?
Not for me.
No, not for you. Not for you. You got some real antiquated ideas of punishment.
Yeah.
Everybody in a stocks.
But here's the thing, Garrett. They're both antiquated and the future.
You're not wrong. As we mentioned the chorus again, and then we get to, well, I can't tell lies because they're listening to me. And when I fall asleep, bet they're spying on me tonight.
This made me think that it's some sort of like it's an indictment of religion and or Santa Claus. Like there's a bunch of elves that are spying on him, seeing what he's done bad, and they've gotten like they're overzealous. So not only are they writing down when he's been naughty in the day, okay, but they're also viewing those dreams for hints of impropriety.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of there being a dream police, a literal Orwellian nightmare that strictly regulates your sleep. And if you're not dreaming properly, you have to stay awake as punishment until you learn how to properly dream again.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it saddens me that there'll be many technological advances in my lifetime, but we will not be able to visualize people's dreams in my life. Probably ever, but definitely not in my life. I'd like to climb into a dream, Inception style. That'd be fun. Or even if you could co-dream, how fun would that be?
Oh,
God
yeah,
mode?
yeah, absolutely. You and I just go to sleep holding hands and
No, why would we need to do
wake
that?
up in a meadow together.
Why would we?
I assume
A
that's how
meadow?
it would work. So you don't get lost when you go into the dream world. You got to hold hands. It's like when you walk through Times Square to the theater, Garrett. We
I'm
hold
not
hands.
even mad anymore. That's adorable. Because I think you believe that. But okay, couple things. Why would we wake up in a meadow? We're in the goddamn dream world and you go to meadow?
Well, that's just where we start. It's like Mario, I assume.
I see. That's like the spawn zone. It's where you spawn into the dream world.
Yes.
So it's not too jarring. Interesting. What would we do? I love this idea. Co-dream. What do you want to do? You and I, we're makers of the universe. What do we do in space? You want to go to space? Fly some of those TIE fighters?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'll have some sort of space battle with you.
I feel like for a man that prides himself on his creativity explicitly on this show, you are not fully realizing the excitement that could be driven from a co-dream. What are we doing?
Right in the range, Garrett. You and me right there together.
I wish I hadn't asked. That's what you
Space Cowboys.
Okay,
Oh.
now we're talking. Now we are meeting in the middle, and I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're in that movie with Tommy Lee Jones, Space Cowboys.
Oh, God damn it. I'm incredibly old, and I'm going to get in a spacesuit. Great. I'm
sorry.
so very old, and I'm going to get inside of a spacesuit. I'm James Garner. Everybody thought I'd lived the longest, but I'm dead.
You know what movie is really good and no one ever talks about it? Is that movie
Please don't say Maverick or Space Cowboys.
Well, Maverick, first of all, is awesome.
The sexual chemistry between Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster
I was going to
cannot
say
be
Mel
matched.
Gibson and James Garner, even though they were playing
damn it.
father and son. Spoilers.
Ugh.
No, I was going to say that movie where James Garner was the president and there's another ex-president and then
Jack Lemmon. Ah, geez,
Yeah.
I'm a former president. Yeah, what was that? Ex-presidents?
Hail to the Chief.
Oh, God, I think you're right.
And they come up with lyrics to the song, Hail to the Chief.
I'm the chief, and you should hail me.
Hail to the
God
Chief,
damn
I'm
it.
the Chief, and you should hail me. It's a good movie. Everyone should go out and watch that movie.
God, listen, that movie sucks. Two things. One, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those are the words from that movie. Hail to the chief. I'm the chief, so you should hail me, which is really funny. I agree. And from the moment I saw that movie forward, I couldn't not say facade.
It'll change your
while-
life, folks.
Like, honestly, like, my instinct is to fucking scream at you and edit all of this out. But to be fair, like, I took both of those jokes. Like, when I hear Hail to the Chief, I sing those words, and I say facade when I see the word facade.
We should watch Hail to the Chief
Yeah,
after
I
we
think we're
watch
gonna.
Godzilla tonight.
Just once. Can we do it instead of?
No. We can put the audio on instead of, but that's just going to get confusing.
Sounds nauseating. Back to the song. I try to sleep. They're wide awake. They won't let me alone. They don't get paid to take vacations or let me alone. They spy on me. I try to hide. They won't let me alone. They persecute me. They're the judge and jury all in one. I think they are real people with dream avatars meting out dream justice, chasing him through his dreams.
Well, I like that.
That's a movie I would watch.
Yeah, you've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'd watch a better version or a worse version. Let's cast Justin Timberlake. What's he up to? He seems about right for this budget.
Yeah, that's true. He'd have to gain some weight though.
Oh,
Like he needs to be a heavy.
I like this. Okay, real play against type. If we get that name attached, we could probably get funding.
Yeah, maybe scar up that face.
Oh, with makeup.
Sure.
We
can
Put
do
your
whatever.
knife away. God, who gave you a switchblade? Anyway, I should mention that entire thing I just read is a spoken word bridge. I don't know why I didn't mention that.
Rick Nielsen really does that in a weird voice for some
Yeah.
reason.
Let's see. Then we get the pre-chorus again. That's because they're waiting for me. They're looking for me every single night. They're driving me insane. These men inside my brain. Chorus again, and it's delivered with a little bit more gusto, in my opinion. Bit of a musical build, and then finally we get the outro, which is the Dream Police police, 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 the dream police, 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 over and over.
Yes.
Great. That brings us to the music video. And the first thing I got to say, Tim, shocked this exists.
Yeah, it's super early. This was apparently, I saw a lot of people online saying that they had originally seen this in between HBO movies because apparently in 1979, HBO would play music videos between movies. Is that a thing?
That sounds right. I was not alive then, but they used to do some really weird stuff on HBO.
All right.
Anyway, so I have no idea why they chose to make the music video even longer than the song.
That's true. Yeah, the first minute of this video begins with 4 guys in a lineup under lights in the mist. The first guy looks like a normal hair metal guy. There's a late 70s, early 80s office drone, I guess.
CPA?
Yeah, another hair metalist, and then Rick Nielsen looking real weird. And
real weird.
They all, well, I guess that's his normal look, which he stole from some sort of 1930s movie guy. Anyway, the first guy says, look, I didn't do it. 5 years ago, I had no idea I would be here. Who are you, anyway? What do you take me for? I must be dreaming. The second guy then digs in his pockets, finds a banana, and then a note which says, listen, I'll never eat a double cheeseburger before bed again. Really? The third guy, Garrett says, I'm telling you, I didn't do it, but if I did do it, it was an accident. And then it's Rick Nielsen's turn. What does he say?
I can't believe you wrote all this down.
Rick Nielsen says, in promulgating your esoteric cogitations and articulating your superficial sentimentalities, amicable philosophical and psychological observations, beware of platitudinous ponderosities. Are we really the dream police? What the fuck is any of that?
Yeah, that's all I wrote down. Are we? I said 4 guys in a lineup all saying a bunch of nonsense until we get to Nielsen with the multisyllabic gibberish.
I've wasted some
ending
time.
with, are we really the dream police?
Oh, in a zoom in on his teeth. I don't care for
And then
it.
we get a tight zoom on the button that is where he's wearing on his hat, where the band itself now appears in the titular police uniforms. They're all white.
Right, and it seems like there's going to be a theme where they do something with that. Perhaps one of the many movies we suggested, just off the top of our heads. But then it's mostly them just performing the song live.
Yeah, by and large, they just kind of ignore it. And it seems like the Dream Police are kind of an afterthought meant to be like brainwashing them into being uniform thinkers. But again, that's us reading into it a good deal. I should mention, before we get to the full live performance, each member of the band is called away from the lineup and then returns in the all-white uniform, leading us all to believe that they've been transformed into the aforementioned police. But then, as Tim said, we do cut to the band performing the song on a stage. And I gotta say, no uniformity in the style of this band whatsoever. We've got a traditional rocker, then we've got a guy in a suit coat, then you got the ska enthusiast / friendly punk, that's your Nielsen fella, and then the drummer who looks, I'm gonna say it, Tim, a little bit like Dennis Rader and never stops smoking while sitting at the drum kit, which I call a positive.
Yes, well, it's 1979. He probably never stopped smoking, ever. You can eat an apple with a cigarette in your mouth. It is possible.
I didn't even see it for at least a minute and a half. Yikes. Yeah, he looks like a young BTK.
Yeah.
That's tough. Better than an old, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty much it, right? There's some like booking photo, like mugshot bits, and there's like split screen between their dumb whatever outfits and their dumb Dream Police versions. It zooms in on a siren for some reason. Yeah, that's pretty
repeatedly.
much it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. Good, congratulations. Well, we're all the way through it. Tim, how did the single do?
It did all right. It hit number 26 on the US Billboard Hot 100, number 5 in Australia, number 9 in Canada, number 79 in Japan, which is surprising, number 7 in New Zealand, number 37 in the Dutch. This had kind of a Rivers Cuomo effect, where the place you'd expect it to do the best, the Japanese, it did the worst.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did people think of it?
Well, Garrett, we have a Robert Christgau review, so if you would like to play the Robert Christgau game, we can do that now.
The Robert Christgau game.
Yes, that is the version created by Brett Peterzak that I will also play now. What's always saved this band for me was the jokes, but this time they're just not in the grooves. And there's only so much you can do with funny hats on the cover. A good heavy metal band, sure. Be thankful for the fast tempos, but probably not a great heavy metal band. And you know what happens to good heavy metal bands long about the fifth album. Garrett, what did Robert Christgau think of this album? Or song, perhaps?
I'm going to go flat C.
Oh, he gave it a B-.
I thought he might pull that bullshit.
Yeah.
He was nothing but insulting about the entire review.
Right, B-.
Most people would have thought that was a D or an F.
Yeah. Garrett, there are 52 total ratings on Amazon, 4.7 out of 5 stars on average, 79% 5 star, 0% 1 star. I have, I think, one, and then I've got some YouTube comments.
Oh, God.
The first is by MWI Dunn from 2015. Classic song by a classic and seriously underrated, in my humble opinion, band. If I were a hacker, which I'm not, I'd put this song on the KGB, I mean NSA's, computers to run continuously. They are the judge and jury all in one. So prophetic. 5 out of 5 stars.
That is really specific. I recommend the NSA and or KGB look into this.
Absolutely. Garrett, some YouTube comments. Ooh la la ah from 2 years ago. Funny how listening to this in bed in the middle of the night makes it sound like someone singing in my room, but is not really there. I love this song a lot.
That's a radio. Ah.
Yeah.
La la.
Yeah, he's describing the concept of speakers or headphones.
I think speakers. I think perhaps up until that moment he'd been a headphone man.
Oh, okay.
And now he's like, whoa, it's like somebody's in here. What? That's like the other person. I'm writing a review about Cheap Trick. You know what I'm going to say? I'm not a hacker, but if I were, what?
Yeah.
Like, were you watching Mr. Robot? And then you're like, oh, you know what? That Cheap Trick song is good. Maybe it was in the episode, and you just merged it. Like, it just,
you're very angry.
What is on people's minds?
He's so sweaty, everyone.
I'm sorry.
Jeff Mejia, again, 2 years ago. Surrender was an ultra hit for these guys. Before DJs, bands at school, dances always played it. Those were the days. No cell phones, no internet, microwaves were still a novelty. Your dad had either bought VHS or beta, and very few people had cable yet. Wow. How is it that life sucks now? And that's a good question, Garrett. How is it that life sucks now? Because Roak Nag wrote in to answer that question.
Yes.
Because of sin. The more technology, the more dumbed down and hard-hearted the heart gets.
Oh.
Got real serious.
Wow. Yeah. Also, I'm not as familiar with all the kooks on the internet, at least as I used to be. I am unfamiliar with the technology equals Satan crew.
Oh, yeah, Garrett. They're on the internet to complain about how technology is putting the devil in them, right in their butts.
They that's where he'll put it. He's Satan, for God's sake. You won't even ask. But they realize they're using the technology, right?
Yes, they do. Maybe.
Okay. Any other horrifying YouTube reviews, Tim?
Yeah, I've got a couple more, Garrett. One is by Jacob R. Kend from 5 years ago. My dad always played this song for me. I never knew the name. I could only remember the tune. That was 12 years ago. My dad is now in a wheelchair. I played this for him. Let's just say it was a good day.
Don't read it like
That's
that.
How it's written. It's in italics and it's underlined.
Well, that's true. That is how you read that.
I may have done that to remind me to do the voice. One more, Garrett. This is by Glass Class Apple. And I will preface this by saying that this YouTube comment is approximately 2,000 words long, so I won't read all of it, but I'm going to read some of it.
And this is about the Dream Police by
How
Cheap
am I
Trick.
supposed to know where I'll be 5 years from now? What do you take me for? I must be dreaming. I was drunk, but I don't care. It was spring break. I was supposed to be drunk. I knew I wanted to write songs before I even got to Daytona. Eddie told me I was dreaming. That doesn't happen every day, you know. How could I know I wasn't dreaming all of that? ... Stop the coup. Who's behind allowing the so-called government funding to condone this dissolving of our Constitution? State of Alabama money laundering scheme in the state of Alabama gambling is illegal. The law enforcement of that state owns and runs a legal gambling syndicate. A percentage of that illegally obtained revenue is distributed to officials throughout the state. Sovereignty of immunity shields all syndicate, even though illegal gambling is not part of the sovereignty. This is all supervised by the Attorney General's office and a deputy assigned to the Revenue Department. According to the state, gambling is illegal, so money which is illegal doesn't actually exist in the state budget. Gambling doesn't make money in Alabama, otherwise they would be admitting to embezzling from the state. Now, there is, again, another 1,500 words, which I will not read in their entirety. So ... Coronavirus equals flu virus. COVID-19 equals flu virus souped up by Harvard, funded during Obama administration, and giving to China to be their patsy? ? It is true that we funded the Wuhan lab, but only gave them enough for a poor budget, building only at best. Seems we intentionally gave them a poor budget so they would have a poor lab not capable of mutating corona. Harvard, on the other hand, is capable. You truly believe that the US gave a communist country the ability to construct a biological weapon to use against us? And then there's a bunch of like YouTube videos, and it just goes on. There's some Marbury versus Madison references later on. He seems really well informed and also insane.
Listen, okay, that was a great comment. And I don't want you to take what I'm about to say personally, but I would love to have one episode that doesn't get us deplatformed. just once could we make it through all of the toll gates. And I'm pretty sure at least 8 of the words you used repeatedly there and that are going to get us flagged.
What? The Alabama gambling?
Yeah, it was not it. No. Please don't repeat them. It's in the, you know it. Why am I entertaining this? Good God.
There was once a time when any compromise to the preservation of the United States Constitution was a law that they be punished with death. It seems, and then there's some Cornell references and links.
Cornell University or Cornell West?
Cornell University.
Okay, that seemed less like it would be Cornell West.
Weirder, though.
Yeah, then I'd make you read the rest. Great reviews, Tim. Who's this for?
The insane, and also for movie suits who will steal our ideas and make movies for fun and profit.
Yeah, you really screwed the pooch on this one. I agree. I think it's for crazy people and most of the rest of us when it's played in, restaurants, etc. in the background.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. We've been all the way through it. I think what I will say that I might not have said up top is inconsistent in content and messaging. Like, don't look too closely at the words here. Fun song.
Yeah, here's my problem. The music video really did a disservice to this whole thing. They could have had a really fun music video about Dream Police. It's not that hard to come up with an idea.
Have a guy go to sleep and get chased by a bunch of those dudes in the white cop uniforms for fucking 3.5 minutes.
Through
Done.
Increasingly bizarre scenarios that only make sense in a dream world. It's easy. God. This is easy.
Yeah. Is this what you do, executives? Because we did it.
Yeah.
Tim, do you hate this song?
No, I don't. What about you, friend? Do you hate this song?
No, I don't think I do.
All right.
I do not think I do. Well, that brings us to listener mail, Tim. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to read my mail?
I would like you to read your mail before I read mine.
Okay, I will read mine. Full disclosure, I really did not read all of this. There's a lot of words in it, so we'll see. My email is entitled Trace Atkins and Aaron Lewis Story.
Oh, God damn it.
Dearest Garotwire and Tim the Maintenance Man.
Ian, I love this.
Me too. That's why I stopped reading right there. There's a lot of paragraphs, so we'll see. I used to work at a body shop, and my boss was, shall we say, an eccentric figure. My official job title was car detailer, but my actual duties varied wildly and often involved his various side projects, including several instances where I would drive 2+ hours away and retrieve packages for him, the contents of which I was forbidden from viewing. Buddy, quit that job. You quit that job immediately. You're a mule.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. One time, my boss was asked by a friend of his to fly down to Georgia and help him with a special project. The friend owned a farm equipment store that I am convinced was a money laundering front. The plan was that he would help clear out the store and get things up for a special show in which Trace Badongadonk Atkins and Aaron Lewis would perform for them. Interesting. My boss assumed that the show would be taking place in the parking lot wherein a sizable crowd would form, but after arriving, he realized that it was actually going to be inside the store itself. Well, the work gets done, the stage is set up, and performers indeed played solo acoustic sets for a crowd that turned out to be roughly the size of a dozen people or so. After the show, Aaron Lewis approached my boss, shook his hand, and called him a, quote, true American for his part in making the event possible, after which the two men were led into Trace Atkins' bus. What the fuck, dude? Let me just pause right here, because there's a paragraph and a half left. What the fuck?
Do not go into Trace Adkins's bus. Nothing good could possibly happen. That man's been shot a bunch of times. Like, best case scenario, you get shot through both your lungs and also your heart.
Yeah. Also, what is this solo acoustic set by two very expensive acts, at least in these circles, performing in a farm equipment store for a dozen people?
I don't think they're that expensive. Specifically Aaron Lewis acoustic? No. We could have him play in our living room here for a group of interns. And then...
Yeah, but that's going to be, I'm going to guess, minimum $250.
Yeah, I got $250.
No, $250,000.
No, come on.
Yeah, man. He's popular-ish again.
Hold on. The estimated speaking fee range to book Aaron Lewis of Stained for your events is $100,000 to $200,000.
That's speaking, though.
Yes,
if he's going to play.
I know, I understand. I'm backing up your point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that feels about right. And then fucking badonkadonk, go fuck yourself. I didn't get out of bed for less than $500,000. Anyway, the email
continues because his life is so dangerous. Go on, sorry.
Email continues. Trace was sitting on a leather couch, looking rather sullen and grouchy. After an awkward moment, my boss tried to clear the air by complimenting the bus, going on and on about various mechanical specifications and whatnot, until Trace interrupted him and gruffly exclaimed, "It's just a bus," after which he retreated into his private quarters. I wasn't there, so I can't confirm the validity of the story, but I thought you guys would get a kick out of it. Oh, still holding out hope for a show on Beck. I think Midnight Vultures would be a king-tastic episode. Happy potting, Bill. Few things there. Story kind of peters out. That's okay. Still enjoyed it. Thanks, Billiam. 2, I think we should do an episode on Beck. 3, it will not be Midnight Vultures. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, probably not.
It's probably going to be that Colors one.
Yeah.
Because Midnight Vultures is the fucking jam. 4, what does he mean by king-tastic?
I don't know.
It sounds vaguely familiar. Tough to say.
Yeah.
Tim, did you bother to get an email this week?
No, Garrett. I got a couple DMs that somebody sent us on Instagram. These are by
gross.
Spooky James Christmas, who I know for a fact got a letter in the mail handwritten from Gino.
Oh, this is the guy from...
This is one of the guys that Gino wrote a letter to. People sent us lots of pictures. Hey, Gart or Tim, but hopefully not both. I have a few things for you today. Firstly, the new episode, you said you'd be listening to Counting Crows, and Tim asked if that's why Garrett stays up late, and Garrett says, no, it's because I'm scared of, and then promptly stopped talking. Was you gonna say the Hat Man? Because he also haunts me. But just because you don't say his name doesn't mean he isn't there, Garrett. He knows about you. But alas, I also wanted to tell you about the Piss-Filled Vinyl update. Resident sad boy emo band made up of family men in their 40s, Fallout Boy, have made their new album on Crynal. Vinyl filled with, again, tears of a punk band of men in their 40s. Thought that was strange. Much love to you silly boys. Stay away from the Hat Man. 019-3711 610472610 smiley face. I apologize if I gave away your phone number or something.
I got to imagine you're not supposed to read that number out loud.
We'll bleep like the middle 17 numbers.
Okay, what did it start with?
0193. Do you know about the Hat Man?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, all right. What kind? Let me ask you this: what kind of hat? Is it a cowboy hat? It's probably not.
No. Okay. It's a big hat, though.
I'm sorry?
Such a big hat.
Jesus Christ.
Could put a man in that hat. He never get out. Never get out.
Seems like real childhood trauma here. Garrett, what news do you have for us today? News of the weird? Go.
That's the new slogan.
Music news of the weird.
My first story, Tim, is in There's Plenty of Reasons to Hate Roger Waters news. Roger Waters of Pink Floyd fame said he's become, quote, the subject of a smear campaign, end quote, after he performed wearing a Nazi-style uniform during his concerts in Berlin. An act he declared was, quote, clearly anti-fascist commentary, end quote. His costume, complete with a long black jacket, gloves, and a red armband adorned with hammers, rather than Nazi swastikas, shocked fans and sparked outrage across the internet. Waters, in his defense, in a very lengthy Instagram post, said, quote, the elements of my performance have been questioned are quite clearly a statement in opposition to fascism, injustice, and bigotry in all of its forms, end quote. And while I do think Roger Waters is kind of a piece of garbage, and I am not here to defend him in pretty much any other way, this isn't new.
No. But here's the problem. If you do something and then everyone assumes that you're a Nazi, you don't get to get mad at everyone else. You did something that made you seem a bit like a Nazi.
Yeah. And I think the big difference is before, when he wore, I think literally the exact same outfit, he had not spoken out so in defense of the invasion of Ukraine.
Yes, and also against
since,
the Jews.
Yeah.
Well, because this is the problem. So
That did happen.
he's just kind of a troll, right? This is when politicians kind of tongue-in-cheek insist on intentionally using the word niggardly and then act confused when people get mad. You're doing this on purpose. This is Reddit or perhaps one of the Chan's behavior. This is not for the real world.
Just so everyone's really, really clear on what Tim said, my God, it's not what it sounds like. It's still shocking to hear.
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
absolutely. But the point is that you're only saying that so that later you can be like, no, stupid, you're the idiot. Like, but you're doing this on purpose.
Yeah,
that was also my
it's
first
interesting.
story.
Weird. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm not here to defend Roger Waters in pretty much any regard whatsoever. But like to your point, if you do something and everybody's just like, "Hey, seems like a Nazi,"
yeah, at least
you gotta just be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
You don't even have to just re-examine. Don't double down.
Yeah. Yeah.
If everybody thinks you might be a Nazi, just take a look at yourself and say, "Am I coming off like a Nazi? I know I'm not a Nazi. Do I seem like a Nazi?"
If it's for wearing something that you've worn for like the last 30 years in the same performance, and suddenly people are angry, either things have changed externally, and that happens, or you've done or said some shit that makes people really suspicious of your motives, and now you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because of your statements about the Jewish people. Tim, what news do you have?
Well, Garrett, in Harvard admission news this week, Travis Scott is about to release his fourth studio album, Utopia. However, recently in an interview with Pinup Magazine, he said, "Architecture is my true passion. I plan to apply to the architecture program at Harvard Graduate School of Design when I'm done with music, which won't be for a while. It would be dope to do both at the same time, though."
He's so stupid.
Yeah, he's a real idiot. I mean, this is, of course, the same Travis Scott that definitely killed those 10 people at Astroworld and did the Nebula nightclub assault and demanded people be beat up at his shows for perceived slights against him and spit on women.
Yeah, those are all things that have been in the news about Travis Scott. What a cool guy.
Yeah, but you know what's going to be in the news in a few years, Garrett?
His new downtown skyscraper in Manhattan?
Yes, or possibly just his Harvard admission.
Yeah, neither of those things are going to happen. Also, I don't think you get to just jump to graduate school.
No, he went to UT San Antonio, I think, but I think he left after a year. So no, he'd probably have to do that undergrad thing.
Did he really go to UTSA?
Yeah, he's from Houston.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's why he killed those people at Astroworld.
Never get used to hearing that.
Oh, what other news do you have, Garrett? Is it about somebody murdering someone?
Not yet.
Oh, dear.
My next
Kanye
story.
Watch.
Yeah, that's right. It's Kanye Watch. Kanye Watch. Still no Kanye Watch theme, so I'm just going to make like Michael Bay noise. Kanye Watch till somebody does it better. In Kanye West used to have too much money and now may not have enough money news, allhiphop.com or something like that is reporting that Kanye shut down, and Tim, this was news to me, I believe, unless this sounds familiar, had to shut down his construction company, Yeezy Construction Inc. Is that something we knew about?
It is not. I'm worried that, dear.
Yeah. Fascinating. Anyway, that happened a little while ago, but more recently the news has come out that Kanye's $57 million mansion in Malibu. Think about that. $57 million. Just a house sitting in Malibu that has been overtaken by birds.
Now, I can't really say much because I did get the West Coast headquarters and either George Michael or Boy George's house. I don't remember which one.
But that cost us $1.9 million.
That's true, but
and
it
insurance
got
covered a lot of
overrun
it.
by raccoons real quick.
Sure, but I'm talking about a $57 million mansion that was overtaken by birds when he halted all renovations. They were putting in several new windows, but never got to that part. Just got the old ones out. Just a bunch of holes.
Listen,
bunch of holes
again,
the
I
birds
can't
came
really
in
talk
through.
too much. Sometimes you get a hole in an apartment and...
God damn it, I'm living with Kanye West. That explains explains a lot. You guys have a lot of similar issues. Anyway, the whole complex has been taken over by animals. It's just covered in refuse and remains half completed. And he may not even have the money to complete the renovations because, well, as we all know, once again, said a bunch of crazy things about the Jewish people. And so, nobody likes you anymore. Also, in related Kanye West news, Tim and I have already discussed this. Kanye West is just walking around in sock shoes and shoulder pads. And
I don't even think we need to mention the sock shoes, Garrett. The man is walking around wearing shoulder pads under his shirt as if no one can tell.
Well, that's the big question. That's where you and I are not necessarily on the same page. You say no one's supposed to know they're there. I say it's a design aesthetic. Either way, it's so crazy. Crazy.
I think he believes we all think he's very muscular.
Well, okay, so here's my other question. Do you think there's any sort of leg business going on?
Not yet. He's doing a George Michael Bluth, Garrett. He
really is.
He tried it on and somebody complimented him and he was just like, fuck yeah.
But they were joking, right?
Absolutely. He looks terrible.
I'm a genius. Hey, can you see these pads? No, yay. I can't see them at all. I didn't think so. Going outside. Okay, man. The sock shoes need to be mentioned.
I don't think they do.
Dude, he looks crazy.
He is crazy, Garrett.
Before we were all using euphemisms and trying to be nice, Kanye looks crazy.
Yeah. And the bad kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore. Maybe we should have only supervised visits with his family.
Why don't we get that Jamie Spears guy to take a look at this?
That would be incredible. He becomes his
I don't know. The racial undertones here don't.
Yeah, because he would kind of own him.
He would subjugate him. Yes. Maybe we'll get a Jamie Spears that's a Native American.
Well, that's interesting. I was gonna say maybe we could get. That's real weird. Maybe we could get
rank
James
in
Earl
their
Jones is
faces.
too
Go
old.
ahead. What?
Let's see. Who would be a positive influence on Kanye that could be not conservator? What's the word I want? Executor of his estate? That's when he's dead. That's the word I want.
Oh, you want to kill Kanye West?
That's not what I said. Jesus Christ, so many bleeps this episode. All right, we're getting too far afield. Just folks, look for the pictures. Maybe we'll post them somewhere. I probably won't. Kanye's walking around in shoulder pads, and it's not good. We're not going in the right direction.
No.
What other terrifying news do you have, Tim?
In news that for once doesn't have to do with vague anti-Semitism, I don't think. John Cougar Mellencamp is a cantankerous old asshole, and I kind of love it.
I heard about this.
Both Cleveland, the Cleve, and Grand Prairie, Texas, he has just gone on officially asking that his fans, and I'm quoting here, shut the fuck up. Following the 30-minute classic movie montage that opens his shows now, the Coug let it be known early in his set that I don't like people screaming from the fucking audience. Now, immediately, of course, one ticket holder shouted to play the fucking music, and he said, listen, hey, you guys, if these people don't shut the fuck up, I'm just gonna leave, okay? Because I'm not used to this crap. Look, guys, if I wanted to play in this type of drunken environment, I'd play outside or I'd play in an arena. Similarly, in a Texas show before a mid-show acoustic portion, he said, this is the quiet part, so keep your fucking mouth shut. And then some woman promptly yelled his name. Yeah, and he said, what did I just fucking say? But thank you. And that's where he made his mistake. Don't ever thank them.
No, we can't give him an inch.
Yeah.
Fucking animals.
Yeah.
So do you think he was at the Grand Prairie Nokia, whatever the fuck it used to be called, that you and I saw? Well, several people, but the one that sticks out to me is Widespread Panic, because it was the weirdest, awfulest thing ever.
Oh, yeah. When the lady behind us was a bird.
The lady behind us was a bird. Did I win the Bacardi shorts at that show?
I don't think so, because I don't remember you ever winning Bacardi shorts. Garrett, what other old man news do you have?
Let's see. Oh, Boozy Badass, Tim. Remember rapper Boozy Badass?
I do not.
Oh, I love Boozy. I check in with him explicitly. I Google Boozy to see what he's up to. Boozy lives the life. He is a rapper who is actually out on the streets, and he's good at social media. He's saying what the streets are really about, and I like Boozy for that. A bit of a rough around the edges, but we've featured several stories about him, none recently, but this one, Tim, this is about a recent episode episode of the podcast Baller Alert. It was released last Friday as we're recording this, and while he was on it, he was discussing Vlad TV. I assume you're not familiar with Vlad TV.
I am not.
A little bit of a background, Vlad TV is sort of a TMZ for what they use, their term, not mine, urban news. They have their finger on the pulse. So a lot of hip-hop news, etc., etc. Well, Vlad TV features several rappers being interviewed in often relaxed and uninhibited environments, and several of the guests end up incriminating themselves, which many of the fans have blamed DJ Vlad, the founder, for. And as a result, the DJ now has a nickname, quote-unquote, The Police, by various fans and even some other rappers. Boozy responded on the podcast recently by sticking up for the show's host, claiming that it is not the DJ's fault if guests literally overshare, adding, quote, sometimes rappers go on the show and they forget they're criminals. You can't blame him. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck is you going to call him the police and they've never sent me to jail? Thus implying that he just incriminated himself on the internet in an interview where he is mocking people for incriminating themselves.
Excellent.
On the internet. Rapper Boozy Badass, I love you. You're living the real life. Tim, what other weird news do you have?
I think that's probably it for me.
All right, well, let me wrap up with a very interesting, if not mildly inspiring story. Jamie Adler, younger brother of former Guns N' Roses drummer Steven Adler, recently recalled that time he quote-unquote kidnapped his brother and held him hostage for 30 days to help him kick a heroin addiction.
Ooh.
The elder Adler had battled heroin addiction for decades, leading to his firing from Guns N' Roses in 1990. He once again let things get out of control in 2007, leading Jamie, 10 years his junior, to risk jail time in order to save his brother's life. Also, Steven had contracted a potentially fatal blood infection and had to take super important drugs every single day, multiple times a day, or he would for sure die, and had to do it consistently for 30 days straight. And they were like, oh, he can't do that. So they got him admitted on a 72-hour hold in the hospital where they started the drug regimen. And then while they were doing that, he got all his shit ready on the outside. And this is great. 3 days later, he, quote, let's see, I want to get this right, offered him one of his favorite milkshakes laced with enough Valium and Xanax to kill a fucking horse, end quote. And for the next month, he moved his brother between 3 secure locations using hired security to watch him 24 hours a day to keep him from leaving and doing heroin. His brother, go ahead.
This could mostly be solved with a single carpet, a crawl space, and a little bit of propofol.
Yeah, barely any at all. Thimbles worth. Well, I guess for 30 days, a little bit more. But anyway.
Mine was approximately 3 weeks. I did the math, Garrett.
Yeah, those carpets are confining. So here's the tricky part. His brother, once captured, continued to fight and try to escape on a daily basis, screaming, you can keep me here for a week, a month, a year, 10 years? As soon as I leave, first thing I'm going to do is get high on heroin. And there's nothing you can do.
If you've been off heroin for 10 years...
Seems unlikely you'd do it.
No, just take it. Don't do heroin out of spite. Come on.
Anyway, as soon as he was released after 30 days, he did in fact do heroin immediately. But there's a bit of a silver lining. He never went back to full junkie status, and while he did fall off the wagon a few more times over the next 10 years, allegedly it was the turning point at which he began to realize, oh, Jesus Christ, I've got a problem. And eventually it led to what I believe is lifelong sobriety now.
Oh, good for Johnny.
Unfortunately, ever since his release after those 30 days, the brothers have only spoken once, where the older brother did in fact acknowledge that yes, the younger brother was just trying to help him, but also seemed to harbor a great deal of dislike for him for doing so because they have not spoken again since.
Fair enough.
So, some people are just bastards. Alrighty, Timmy, that brings us to the end of the show where we get to announce what album we're going to be talking about next week, and therefore are going to have to be listening to for an entire 7 days. Tim, what album have we drawn from the bin?
Ooh, this one is a doozy, Garrett. We will be listening to Soulja Boy, SouljaBoyTell'em.com.
This thing has been in the hopper for years.
Yeah.
Listener requested, pops up on all the lists of the worst albums of the last 20, 30, 40 years. Worst hip-hop albums. Basically, any worst of list that includes the era in which it was made, you're going to see it on there. I don't know shit about Soulja Boy. Do you?
No.
Well, this is going to be quite a week then. Going to learn a whole bunch. I can't say I'm excited, though. And having no context, next. I could be dead wrong.
I don't think you will be. I think it's going to suck.
Probably. But it might be fun. I hope it's at least fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show, folks. As always, if you can, rate, review, subscribe, whatever it is your podcast platform does to let them know that you like what we're doing. You can also write in hatepodmail@gmail.com, and we want to hear from you. The emails have slowed down just enough that we can almost keep up. So, folks, let's get it going. hatepodmail@gmail.com. Tell us your stories, your ideas, your thoughts, your dreams, suggestions, of course. Your art submissions are fun. Haven't gotten a new jingle or theme song in quite some time. Budding musicians out there, come on. Where are you at, super fans? I want to hear you. You can also reach out to us on Instagram. That's HatePod. Twitter, Album HatePod. We got subreddits. We got Discord servers. You can also go to hatepod.com and click on Contact Us in the upper left-hand corner. That will give you a contact form, and you can send that to us. That's another way to reach us. So listen, folks, we're on the internet. Everything but TikTok. So just get after it. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Cornelius Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson, and Garrett's hair is a wig.
Wow, fuck you. That's not true.
It is true.
That's not true.
It is
That's
true.
not true. My hair is not a wig.
Okay, you heard it here first. Garrett has issued a challenge. If you see him on the street, give that hair a tug. See if it's real.
Don't give it a tug.
See if it's
very
real.
clearly my hair. I am a hairy man.
You are a hairy man. Just none of the stuff on the top of your head is real.
That is fucking untrue. Why do you keep doing this to me? This is not a friendship.
Oh, it is the best of friendships, Garrett. We're going to dream together.
I feel like you really dropped the ball on that question. I want you to know that. It's a dream. You could have said anything. Dinosaurs, you said the Old West. We could do that right now. I'm in space. God damn it.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.